Good day, everyone, especially to our estimable instructor, Mrs. Juliet Relieta. Good day, ma'am. I hope that you are all comfortable wherever you are right now, so you could better understand our lesson for today, which is about the information age. But before that, please allow me to introduce myself, including my fellow reporters, for this topic. Barong Pearly, yours truly, Penarijo Mary Grace, Rasonabe Anna Marie, and Roslinda Caren. So let's start. For the lesson objectives, at the end of this lesson, the student should be able to define information age, discuss the history of information age, and understand the factors that need to be considered in checking website sources. So for now, Barong Pearly will be the one to discuss to you the introduction of information age.
Thank you, Miss Penarijo. Once again, good day to one and all. This is Pearly Barong from BSED Filipino 2-1. Now, let's delve onto our topic. When you hear the phrase, the information age, what suddenly comes into your mind? Datum or data, media, or advanced technologies that convey information. And yes, those are right. Highly modernized, automated, data-driven, and technologically advanced, these best describe our society nowadays, as evidenced by how information could be transferred or shared quickly. The different areas of society have been influenced tremendously, such as communication, economics, industry, health, and the environment. But despite our gains due to the growing development of information technology, the rapid upgrade of information also has disadvantages. And this lesson will discuss the history and impact of technological advancements to the society. Now, what is information age? According to Webster's Encyclopedic Unabridged Dictionary, information is knowledge communicated or obtained concerning a specific fact or circumstance. And according to vocabulary.com, the information age is defined as a period starting in the last quarter of the 20th century when information became effortlessly accessible through publications and through the management of information by computers and networks. And according to James R. Messenger and the Theory of Information Age in 1982, the information age is a true new age based upon the interconnection of computers via telecommunications, with these information systems operating in both real-time and as-needed basis. In other words, the information age is a period where information became effortlessly accessible to us due to the advancement of technology, where computers and the internet plays a major role in the acquisition and broad transmission of these knowledge or informations. Therefore, the information age is also called the digital age or the new media age because it was associated with the development of computers. Now, let me show you the timeline or the table that traces the history and emergence of the information age. Please bear with me, for this is quite long. On 3000 BC, Sumerian writing system used pictographs to represent words. 2900 BC marked the beginnings of Egyptian hieroglyphic writing. 1300 BC, tortoise shell and oracle bone writing were used. 500 BC, paper scroll was used. 220 BC, Chinese small seal writing was developed. 100 AD, book parchment codex. 105 AD, woodblock printing and paper was invented by the Chinese. On 1455, Johannes Gutenberg invented the printing press using movable metal type. 1755, Samuel Johnson's dictionary standardized English spelling. 1802, the Library of Congress was established. On the same year was the invention of the carbon arc lamp. 1824, research on persistence of vision was published. 1830s, first viable design for a digital computer. Augusta Lady Byron writes the world's first computer program. 1837, invention of the telegraph in Great Britain and the United States. 1861, motion pictures were projected onto a screen. 1876, Dewey Decimal System was introduced. 1877, Edward Muybridge demonstrated high-speed photography. 1899, first magnetic recordings were released. 1902, motion picture special effects were used. 1906, Lee De Forest invented the electronic amplifying tube or triode. 1923, television camera tube was invented by Zorkin. 1926, first practical sound movie. 1939, regularly scheduled television broadcasting began in the U.S. 1940s, beginnings of information science as a discipline. 1945, Vannevar Bush first saw the invention of hypertext. 1946, ENIAC computer was developed. 1948, birth of field of information theory proposed by Claude E. Shannon. 1957, planar transistor was developed by Gene Horney. 1958, first integrated circuit. 1960s, Library of Congress developed LCMARC or Machine Readable Code. 1969, UNIX operating system was developed, which could handle multitasking. 1971, Intel introduced the first microprocessor chip. 1972, optical laser disc was developed by Philips and MCA. 1974, MCA and Philips agreed on a standard video disc encoding format. 1975, Altair microcomputer kit was released, first personal computer for the public. 1977, Radio Shack introduced the first complete personal computer. 1984, Apple Macintosh computer was introduced. Mid-1980s, artificial intelligence was separated from information science. 1987, HyperCard was developed by Bill Atkinson Recipe Box Metaphor. 1991, 450 complete works of literature on one CD-ROM was released. And lastly, January 1997, RSA encryption and network security software, Internet Security Code cracked for a 48-bit number. Alright, that was indeed quite long but downright impressive. Now, please take a look at this picture. What can you say about it? Right! This picture shows the evolution of man and information. Okay. As man evolved, information and its dissemination has also evolved in many ways. What does it mean? As time goes by, we no longer keep information to ourselves, but instead, we share them and manage them in different means. Information got ahead of us. How or why? It started to grow at a rate we were unprepared to handle. Because of the abundance of information, it was difficult to collect and manage them starting in the 1960s and 1970s. During the 1980s, real angst set in. Richard Wurman called it information anxiety. What is information anxiety? It is the pressure we feel to maintain some level of information awareness in the face of ever-increasing quantities of information. It is similar to the common expression of the people today called FOMO, or the fear of missing out, where you might feel worried about missing events that your friends might attend, which can cause you to constantly check the social media platform that you use or checking and refreshing sites to maintain social connections and never be left behind. That is similar to information anxiety, where we can feel the pressure of maintaining some level of information awareness because information is constantly increasing and we're afraid of being left behind. And in the 1990s, information became the currency in the business world. Information was the preferred medium of exchange, and the information managers served as information officers. In the present generation, there is no doubt that information has turned out to be a commodity, an overdeveloped product, mass-produced and unspecialized. Soon, we become overloaded with it. Alright, different authors have diverse, contrasting ideas on the evolution of the information age. In spite of this, we can still say that information is a very important tool that helps improve our way of life. One thing is for sure. The information age will continue to move forward and far greater than our minds could imagine. In his article, Truths of the Information Age, Robert Harris detailed some facts on the information age. Number 1. Information must compete. There is a need for information to stand out and be recognized in the increasing clutter. Number 2. Newer is equated with truer. We forgot the truth that any fact or value can endure. Number 3. Selection is a viewpoint. Choose multiple sources for your information if you want to receive a more balanced view of reality. Number 4. The media sells what the culture buys. In other words, information is driven by cultural priorities. Number 5. The early worm gets the perm. The first media channel to expose an issue often defines the context, terms, and attitudes surrounding it. Number 6. You are what you eat, and so is your brain. Do not draw conclusions unless all ideas and information are presented to you. Number 7. Anything in great demand will be counterfeited. The demand for incredible knowledge, scandals, and secrets is ever present. Hence, many events are fabricated by tabloids, publicists, publicists, or other agents of information fraud. Number 8. Ideas are seen as controversial. It is almost certainly impossible to make any assertion that will not find some supporters and some detractors. Number 9. Undead information walks ever on. Rumors, lies, disinformation, and gossips never truly die down. They persist and continue to circulate. Number 10. Media presence creates the story. People behave much differently from the way they would if being filmed when the media are present, especially film news or television media. Number 11. The medium selects the message. Television is highly pictorial, partially oral, and slightly textual. So, visual stories are emphasized: fires, chases, and disasters. And lastly, the whole truth is a pursuit. The information that reaches us is usually selected, verbally charged, filtered, slanted, and sometimes fabricated. What is neglected is often even more important than what is included. Alright, so that is all for the history of the information age. Next, we will have the computer and its types, which will be discussed by Miss Caren Roslinda. Thank you so much.
I am Caren Roslinda, and now I will be discussing what are the computers, types of computers, and World Wide Web. Talk about what is computer. So when we say computer, are among the most important contributions of advances in the information age to society. A computer is an electronic device that stores and processes data or information. Computers are associated with numerous terms and descriptions. Most people suggest the dimensions intended use or the computer's power. While the term computer can apply to virtually any device that has a microprocessor in it, and the most people think of a computer as a device that receives input from the user through a mouse, which is hand-guided directions tool or keyboard, processes in it some fashion and represents in result of session. And now, let us proceed on the types of computers. So first is the PC. It is a single-user instrument. So when we say PC, were the first known as the microcomputers since they were complete computer but built on a smaller scale than the numerous systems operated by the most businesses. Next, desktop computer. It is described as a PC that based on not design or portability. So when we say desktop computers, it is the assumption with a desktop is that it will be set up in a permanent spot. A workstation is simply a desktop computer that has some more powerful processor, additional memory, and enhanced capabilities for performing special group of tasks such as 3D graphics or game development. So third is the laptops. These are the portable computers that integrate the essentials of a desktop computer in a battery-powered package. So laptop, which are somewhat larger than a typical hardcover book. They are commonly called notebooks. So next is PDA. There is a tightly integrated computers that usually have no keyboards but rely on touchscreen for user input. So PDAs are typically smaller than a paperback, lightweight, or battery-powered. Next is the server. It refers to a computer that has been improved to provide network services to other computers. Servers usually boost powerful processors, tons of memory, and the large hard drives. Next is mainframes. These are huge computer systems that can fill an entire room. So when we say mainframes, it is used special by large firms to describe the large expensive machines that process millions of transitions every day. The term mainframe has been replaced by enterprise server. So 7, wearable computers. They involve materials that are usually integrated into cell phones, watches, and other small objects or places. So they perform common computer applications such as databases, email, multimedia, and schedulers. So now let us proceed the World Wide Web. So, the father of information theory is Claude E. Shannon. So, Claude E. Shannon, he worked at the Bell Laboratories at the age of 32. He published a paper proposing that information can be quantitatively encoded as a sequence of ones of zeros. Next, what is Internet? The Internet is a worldwide system of interconnected networks that facilitate data transmission among the innumerable computers. Developed during the 1970s by the Department of Defense. So, Internet, in case of an attack, military advisors suggested the advantages of being able to operate on one computer from another terminal. One early problem faced by the internet users was speed. So, Sergey Brin and Larry Page was the directors of Stanford's research project built Google. Directors of Stanford Research Project built a search engine that listed results to reflect page popularity when they determined that the most popular result would frequently be the most usable. Back then, forms of communication were also introduced. So like electronic mail or email, surfing the net became a pastime in and of itself. Information age has spawned in its own breed of wealthy, influential brokers. Microsoft Bill Gates, Apple Steve Jobs, and Facebook's Mark Zuckerberg. Critics have charged that the internet created a technological divide that increased the gap between the members of the higher class and lower class of society. The unregulated and loose of nature of the internet allowed pornography to be broadcast to millions of homes. Cyberbullying is an issue that possesses the alarm worldwide. Thank you. So that is all about computers, types of computers, and World Wide Web. So next, we will have the applications of computers in science and research and how to check the reliability of web source, which will be discussed by Miss Ana Marie Rasonabe.
Thank you so much, Miss Caren, Roslinda. And again, a pleasant day to each and everyone. I am Miss Ana Marie Rasonabe, and I will be continuing the discussion. So at this point, we will be tackling about the applications of computers in science and research. One of the significant applications of computers for science and research is evident in the field of bioinformatics. So what is bioinformatics? Bioinformatics is the application of information technology to store, organize, and analyze vast amount of biological data, which is available in the form of sequences and structures of proteins. Proteins are the building blocks of organisms and nucleic acids, the information carrier. Okay. So early interest in bioinformatics was established because of a need to create databases of biological sequences. And since we all know that the human brain cannot store all the genetic sequences of organisms, and this huge amount of data can only be stored, analyzed, and be used efficiently with the use of computers. So while the initial databases of protein sequences were maintained at individual laboratories, the development of a consolidated formal database known as Swiss Prot, it is a protein sequence database, was initiated in 1986. It now has about 70,000 protein sequences from more than 5,000 model organisms, a small fraction of all known organisms. The enormous variety of divergent data resources is now available for study and research by both academic institutions and industries. These are made available as public domain information in the larger interest of research community through the internet. So we have a nursing site, the www.ncbi.nlm.nih.gov, and CD-ROMs on request from www.rs or rcsb.org. So these databases are constantly updated with additional entries. Okay, so the picture at the right shows an example of a Swiss Prot, a protein sequence database. Okay, so computers and software tools are widely used for generating these databases and to identify the function of proteins, model the structure of proteins, determine the coding or useful regions of nucleic acid sequences, find suitable drug compounds from a large pool, and optimize the drug development process by predicting possible targets. So here are some of the software tools which are handy in the analysis. So this includes BLAST. BLAST is used for comparing sequences. And we have Annotator. It is an interactive genome analysis tool. And Gene Finder. This is a tool to identify coding regions and splice sites. So the picture at the right is an example of an annotator, an interactive genome analysis tool. Okay. So the sequence information generated by the Human Genome Research initiated in 1988 has now been stored as a primary information source for future applications in medicine. The available data is so huge that if compiled in books, the data would run into 200 volumes of 1,000 pages each. And reading alone, ignoring understanding factor, would require 26 years working around the clock. So for a population of about 5 billion human beings with 2 individuals differing in 3 million bases, the genomic sequence difference database would have about 15 billion entries. So the present challenge to handle such huge volume of data is to improve database design, develop software for database access and manipulation, and devise data entry procedures to compensate for the varied computer procedures and systems used in different laboratories. So we have here the much celebrated complete human genome sequence, which was formally announced on the 26th of June 2000, involved more than 500 times 1018 or 500 million trillion calculations during the process of assembling the sequences alone. So this can be considered as the biggest exercise in the history of computational biology. So that was done with the help of computers and bioinformatics. Okay, so moreover, from the pharmaceutical industry's point of view, bioinformatics is the key to rational drug discovery. It reduces the number of trials in the screening of drug compounds and in identifying potential drug targets for a particular disease using high-power computing workstations and software like Insight. So Insight is a software that helps in identifying potential drug targets. Okay. So this profound application of bioinformatics in genome sequence has led to a new area in pharmacology. We have the pharmacogenomics. Pharmacogenomics is where potential targets of drug development are hypothesized from the genome sequences. Molecular modeling, which requires a lot of calculations, has become faster,
due to the advances in computer processors and its architecture. And aside from the pharmaceutical industry's point of view, we also have in plant biotechnology. Bioinformatics is also found to be useful in the areas of identifying diseases, resistance genes, and designing plants with high nutrition value. So from these, we can say that bioinformatics is really useful, especially the applications of computers. And now we will proceed to another topic under this lesson. We have how to check the reliability of web sources. Okay, so since we are using computers every day or the internet, we need to be informed about the reliability of web sources that we are using. The internet contains a vast collection of highly valuable information, but it may also contain unreliable, biased information that mislead people. So we will now tackle about the guidelines that can help us check the reliability of web sources that we gather. So it is noteworthy to consider and apply these guidelines to avoid misinformation. So first, how to check the reliability of web sources? We need to find out who is the author of the article or site. So we have to look for an about or more about the author link at the top, bottom, or sidebar of the web page. Some pages will have a corporate author rather than a single person as an author. If no information about the author or authors of the page is provided, be suspicious. So first, we have to ask, does the author provide his or her credentials? Second, what type of expertise does he or she have on the subject he or she is writing about? Does he or she indicate what his or her education is? Third, what type of experience does he or she have? Should you trust his or her knowledge of the subject? So try searching on the internet for information about the author. So we need to find out what kinds of websites are associated with the author's name. Is he or she affiliated with any educational institution? And do commercial sites come up? Do the websites associated with the author give you any clues to particular biases the author might have? So those are the questions you can ask about the author of the website you are using. Second, we need to find out who published the site. So look at the domain name of the website that will tell you who is hosting the site. So for instance, the Lee College Library website is https://www.lee.edu/library. So the domain name is lee.edu. This tells you that the library website is hosted by Lee College. So take into account the domain name of the website. Next, search the domain name at http://www.whois.sc/. So the site provides information about the owners of registered domain names. What is the organization's main purpose? Check the organization's main website if it has one. So is it educational, commercial, or is it a reputable organization? And do not ignore the suffix on the domain name. So the three-letter part that comes after the dot. So the suffix is usually, but not always, descriptive of what type of entity hosts the website. So keep in mind that it is possible for sites to obtain suffixes that are misleading. So here are some examples. .edu means educational, .com means commercial, .mil, it means that it is a military site, and .gov, a government site, .org is a non-profit site. Okay. And third, what is the main purpose of the site? Why did the author write it, and why did the publisher post it? Is it to sell a product, as a personal hobby, as public service, to further scholarship on a topic, to provide general information on a topic, or to persuade you of a particular point of view? And fourth, who is the intended audience? Scholars or the general public? Which age group is it written for? Is it aimed at people from a particular geographic area, or does the site aimed at members of a particular profession or with specific training? And fifth, and the last one, we need to find out the quality of information provided on the website. So we need to consider the timeliness of the website. So when was the website first published? Is it regularly updated? Check for dates at the bottom of each page on the site. And thus the author cite sources. Just as in print sources, web sources that cite their sources are considered more reliable. What type of other sites does the website link to? Are they reputable sites? And lastly, what types of sites link to the website you are evaluating? Is the website being cited by others? So those are the questions that we can answer in determining the quality of information provided on the website. So those are the steps in determining the reliability of the web sources that we are using in the internet. So again, we need to determine the author who published the site, the intended purpose of the site, and the audience, and as well as the quality of information that is provided on the website. So we need to consider those things in order for us to avoid misinformation. And now for the next topic, it will be discussed by Miss Mary Grace Penarijo.
Again, I am Mary Grace Penarijo, and I will be the one to give you the examples of useful and reliable web sources. So first, AFA e-newsletter, or the Alzheimer's Foundation of America newsletter. The second, American Memory, the Library of Congress Historical Digital Collection. Third, Bartleby, or the bartleby.com, Great Books Online. This is a collection of free ebooks including fictions, non-fictions, references, and verses. The fourth, Chronicling America. This is a search and view pages from American newspapers from 1880 to 1922. The fifth, Cyberbullying, a free collection of ebooks from eBrary Plus. This is an additional reports and documents to help better understand, prevent, and take action against this growing concern. So the sixth, drug information websites. So the following are the drug information websites are the National Library of Medicine's Medline Plus, the drugs.com, and the PDR Health. So the seven, Global Gateway. So a world culture and resources from the Library of Congress. So the eight, Google Books. 9, googlescholar.com. 10, history sites with primary documents. So the following are the history sites with primary documents. The AM Docs, the documents of the study of American histories. So the second, Avalon Project, a documents in law, history, and diplomacy. This is a Yale Law School. And the Internet Modern History Source Book, a Colonial Latin America. And the last one is the Teacher Oz's Kingdom of History. So let's proceed to 11. So number 11, the Illinois Digital Archives. The Illinois State Library, working with the libraries, museums, and historical societies in Illinois, provides this collection of materials related to Illinois history. So number 12, Internet Archive, a digital library of internet sites and other cultural artifacts in digital form. 13, Internet Archive for Carly digitized resources. 14, the Internet Public Library. 15, IPL2, a merger of Librarians Internet Index and Internet Public Library. A special interest may include the literary criticisms page, which we can be found after clicking the Special Collections link. 16, the Librarians Internet Index. 17, Making of America. This is a digital library of primary sources in American social history. 18, Maps. This is from the University of Texas at Austin collection. It also includes the historical and thematic maps. 19, a Nation Master. This is a massive central data source and a handy way to graphically compare nations. So it is also a vast compilation of data from such sources as the CIA World Factbook and UN and OECD. So number 20, nursing sites. So these are the following nursing sites: the AHRQ or the www.ahrq.gov, the National Guidelines Clearinghouse or the www.guideline.gov, and last one is the PubMed or the www.nlm.nih.gov. So number 21, Project Gutenberg. This is the first and largest single collection of free electronic books with currently over 20,000 ebooks available. So number 22, SHOMP or the SHMOONP. I don't know how to read this one, but maybe SHOMP. So this is a literature, US history, and a poetry information written primarily by PhD and master students from top universities, so like Stanford, Berkeley, and Harvard, and also the Yale. So number 23, a state master. So this is a unique statistical database. This one is which allows you to research and compare a multitude of different data on U.S. states using various primary sources such as the U.S. Census Bureau, the FBI, and the National Center for Educational Statistics. It uses visualization technology like pie charts, maps, graphs, and scatter plots to provide data. So the last one, number 24, the virtual reference. So this is a selective web resources compiled by the Library of Congress. So those are the examples of useful and reliable web sources. So one can also visit the university library and seek help from the librarians, as they are knowledgeable and the library has a rich collection of online library resources that are very useful for academic and research purposes. So that's all for my topic, and to summarize Nowadays, information could be shared or transferred quickly. Yes, so people are becoming more interested in sharing information about themselves. So, various aspects of our society are also being influenced by the information age, especially communication, economics, industry, health, and the environment. The rapid upgrade of information possessed both positive and negative impacts to our society. Therefore, we need to carefully check our motives before disseminating information, and we also need to verify information before believing them and using and also sharing them. We should share information that could help improve our lives and others.
And that is all for the information age. Once again, we are the reporters. Barong Pearly, Penarijo Mary Grace, Rasonabe Anna Marie, and Roslinda Caren. We hope that you have learned something from our discussion. Thank you so much.